Hello everyone. I showed an emergent pattern that I use, a kind of a gray boy pattern that I designed with goose bite quill, or turkey bite quill, sorry, and Rhea on the thorax with an inferno goose bite wing case. I have another version of that, but more so as the emergent, as fish are feeding a little higher in the water column and right near and in the surface area. So basically what I do is I mount a 550 clink hammer pattern. What I like about the clink hammer, it has this short little flat spot right in the first 1/3 of the hook shank. So again, what I'll do is I'll wax my 18-aught nano silk thread, and I'll just start that with a catch behind the eye of the hook. And we'll just come down to the back of that flat spot. From here, what I like to use are basically booby tubes. They're the 2.6 mil, and they come in an assortment of color. You can buy a multi-pack like this. There's 80 tubes in here roughly, or you can buy them in individual packages of 20. And they're the closed cell foam. These are laser cuts, so they're very, very consistent in diameter and in length, and they're pretty much always the same from one to the next. So for the emergent section, to create the emergent, I want this pattern to ride in the surface film. So first I'll start by cutting a 45-degree angle in one end of the tube, and I will lash this in. I'll just set this in place so that that tube itself, where my tie-in point is, will be right in the middle of that flat spot. So that's where I start my 45-degree angle, on the top of it where I made my cut, and then I'll just run touching turns, gradually building a taper out of the tube itself, making sure my thread's flat. And then I'll bring my thread in front of the tube, and then what I'll do is I'll push a small section upward and then tie that in. That's not quite enough. And this will actually become part of the pattern where it rides and holds this emergent pattern in the surface film. And I'll just take a few touching turns, moving slightly forward, and pull tight and cut the tube with the nano silk. You won't get a pair of scissors in there with a fine enough nose to make that cut, so this is just an easier way of doing it. So now I'll go around the tube once or twice with the nano silk just to bunch it, and then come down, touching turns halfway down the hook shank. And here again I'll take the biot, and that's a natural gray turkey biot, and with the underside facing towards me, I'll tie this in just by the tip. And then with touching turns, continue wrapping down the hook shank to where I plan on terminating the body. That's about the right spot there. I'll just make sure our thread's nice and flat. Again, touching turns, moving forward. And get my thread nice and flat, and I'll just build a slight taper here now with my thread. And just bring that up in just where the foam starts, and we'll half hitch here. And now I'll just put a little bit of head cement down. This will give the body a little bit of strength. These turkey and goose bites can be quite fragile, but once this dries, it just helps keep the pattern together somewhat. Well, again, I'll grab the foot of the biot with my hackle pliers. As you can tell, they're spring-loaded. They're just easier to work with. These spring-loaded pliers, they have a tendency not to tear the biot quite as easily or have them pull out of the hackle plier itself. So I'm just following along with the goose biot. My spacing, as the biot thickens, it increases my spacing size as well. And I'll just bring it to this point here, and now take my thread and lash this down. A few turns in front, a few turns in the back, and we have the body lashed into place with a natural taper built into it because of the underbody that we laid down. At this point, there's a couple ways of finishing this. We can just lay in another piece of Rhea. Again, it sort of becomes a hot spot, even though it is in the surface area. Reds and oranges are highly visible in the surface area. So we can add this to the side. To build the pattern. Lash down all the foot, and then I'll just come in behind the foam, come around it a couple of times, and then once right at the base, and I'll create a dubbing loop here. And that dubbing loop we'll use in a moment. I'll just lay that back off to the side here for now. Just put a pair of hackle pliers on the loop here. Just keep a little bit of tension on it. And now we'll run the Rhea in the back and then in the front. Make sure that we get touching. Okay, and now I'll just finish off by wrapping around the post to tie off the Rhea. Careful not to pull this too tight. Remove the waist ends of the Rhea, and now I'll run some CDC to finish off the fly for the thorax, around the thorax section. I just have to go grab some CDC. So I'll use a nice long stem that's kind of a tan color. Something along this line. We'll open that up. Just remove the ends here. And we'll lay that in our bulldog clip. So it's like this. You can see that. I'll remove the tip and I'll remove the butt. Take another bulldog clip. And I will grab that CDC with the other bulldog clip and remove it. And now with a long pair of scissors, I will cut the CDC away from the stem, leaving me a few ends to work with. And now I can remove my dubbing loop. And I'll put a hook in the system, wax the thread, put a hook in the system, something that I'll use to spin the dubbing loop with the CDC in place. So I'll split this, as you can see, lay the CDC in place, and now we'll start spinning material, creating a nice tight rope with the CDC. And just push that up and make sure that's good and tight. Okay, so once it is, I'll just try to pull all the CDC away from the rope itself and come around. My wing post. And now tie that off. Around the post. And then remove the tag end of my dubbing rope. And the nice thing about this 18-aught nano silk is because it is so fine, you can pull it through the Rhea hurl. And just tighten that up, spin that into a rope just to give it even more strength, and then bring that up behind the eye of the hook, which is just probably the best place to finish off the fly. And also, it's almost not even visible to see that 18-aught nano silk in the thorax section. And it gives you just a better finish, trying to finish it off at the eye of the hook. You can tie it off around the post, but I just find with the tying off around foam, it loosens, so it's not the best place, in my opinion, to finish off the post pattern. So now I'll just take the balance of the CDC and just sort of pinch off the ends. Leave a little bit of length. You kind of want it to sit out, and the CDC will move out in the water on the surface and give it a little bit of life. And just before I finish, I'll just put a drop of head cement right in the CDC here. Needle point. And now we have a midge emerger. I'll tie the same fly, same way, on thicker bodies on the clink hammers, obviously for caddis emergers or even mayfly emergers, but it's certainly doable as well for the midge patterns. If I'm tying smaller patterns, 14s or 16s, I'll take a tube itself and cut it lengthwise with a pair of long scissors just to reduce the overall size of the tube. So you can just lay a pair of scissors down the tube and just cut that in half. So now you have half the wing that you can still build a post with, but it allows and still gives you floatability of the pattern, but you have a post that's half the size of the other one. So that's how I just accommodate down to size 14 and 16 patterns. And with the double, with full thickness, we can run at 8s, 10s, and 12s quite easily, quite handily. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.